So you're moving to Toronto. You might be feeling a little overwhelmed, right? Well, you know what? I've been there, done that. I've moved many times over the last 40 years, and I wanted to share with you in this video what to expect when you get here. So let's get this video started to stop your overwhelm. You ready? Let's go. What's up, everyone? My name is Nasira Jamal. I'm a local realtor right here with the Canada Realty Group. If this is your first time to the channel and you want to learn everything there is to know about living, working, playing, eating, sleeping, and even stopping the overwhelm when you're moving into the Greater Toronto Area, then make sure you hit the subscribe button and turn your notification on so that you get notified every time I upload a new video. Honestly, I get calls every day from people that are moving and relocating into the area, and I absolutely love it. So if you're thinking about moving here or relocating, maybe you're just coming to stay and have a look around, make sure you give us a call, shoot us a text, send us an email. You can even send that pigeon carrier. However you want to get a hold of us, we've got your back when you're moving into the Greater Toronto Area. Okay, so you're thinking about moving to Toronto, and what better way of figuring out if it's really right for you than hearing from somebody who has lived here, who has moved a number of times, and also somebody who works with clients that move here as well. So let's get started and talk about the things that'll come up when you're thinking about moving to Toronto. Now, this is based on you already have your permanent residency, all of that legal immigration stuff done. You're on your way. What are you going to expect? When you land at Toronto International Airport, it's called Pearson, what you are going to find is a lot of people. There's a lot of people coming in and out. Now, with COVID, of course, it's going to be a different experience, but I trust that, that's all going to change over the next few months as we get over this travel restrictions and the bans, lockdowns that are in place. Now, I want to really go over, depending on which weather or which climate you land in, it's going to be different. If it's winter, then yeah, you're going to need either someone to have brought you, if someone's picking you up, some warm clothing, coats, mitts, gloves, and if it's a snowstorm, even some boots. But if it's not winter time and you're coming in the spring or summer, a light jacket is probably not a bad idea to pack along. And remember, if you have all of your paperwork in order and you, have family that you're coming to, which is really what happened for us when we came. I was young when we came from Africa to Canada when we actually got our immigration done. I remember, coming to my uncle's house. He lived in Windsor at the time, and I have little recollection of what happened because I was quite young. I think I was about 8 years old. But what I want to really talk about from the perspective of a young child or a young person, from what I remember, is schooling. So if your child is going to be going into any of the younger grades from, I guess, 0 to or grade kindergarten to about grade 8, you want to set that up as early as possible. You want to call the school, depending on where you're living. You want to make sure that you've got all of that in order. You'll also be able to schedule visits to the school. Of course, this is post-COVID, but that's really important when you're settling children in, when you're coming into a new country. So that's number one. If you are coming here and staying with family, that's great. It's going to give you some time to figure out where you want to live. Toronto is a rather large place. So when you say Toronto, we kind of refer to it as the Greater Toronto Area, which is the GTA. You can choose to live in any of the suburbs, neighborhoods. Downtown Toronto, really, you'll see people, saying, I live in Toronto, but otherwise, they'll be saying, live in Mississauga, or I live in Brampton or Vaughan. So there's lots of different suburbs that you can pick from. So depending whether you're renting when you get here, whether you're purchasing, you want to ensure that that location also has the school that you want your children to go to, because here the rule is you can't go over the boundaries. And again, if you're traveling with children, families, it's really important to figure that out. And the other thing, for me, when I was going, and I was actually moving quite a bit, even as I lived with my parents growing up, I remember, we moved once a year, and it was just in the same area. We lived in Kitchener-Waterloo at the time, and we were moving within Kitchener, but schools had to be changed every time we moved. So I remember that was sort of the instability of my childhood, is that I moved a lot, and then I was in different schools every year, which was really hard because you can imagine, like, you're trying to set up friends and kind of figure things out. So just, when you pick a place, you may want to really consider if that's a 3 to 5 year plan, so that your kids are going to be in a stable area, or, in an environment that they're not going to be moved around. So as I grew up, we moved to, when I was about, I want to say 20, we moved to Edmonton. So Edmonton is in a different province, a province called Alberta. It's west of Ontario. It is much colder in Alberta. We had a lot more snow. It was frigid temperatures, like even more than Toronto. So, when I say cold, I'm talking minus 30, 40, 50 degrees Celsius at times. It was actually quite dry there, I found. And so the kind of temperature in terms of how you felt it in your bones was definitely different. Toronto, we're near Lake Ontario, so it's really more damp and it gets into your bones more, but we don't have sort of the plummeting temperatures in the minus 40s, but we do have wind chill factors. And that's, important to know that it may be one thing to know the temperature, what the temperature is, but when they report a wind chill factor, it's the temperature actually drops when they say, the wind chill factor is minus 30. It basically means it's bone chilling cold, right? So these are the kinds of things that you'll notice in terms of weather, that it's being reported. There are snowstorms, snow blizzards, snow squalls. That's really for people when they're driving, so they know visibility is low. What's great about, our sort of, I guess, system of getting the news for weather especially, is you're always updated. So whether you're driving, you can, tune into any of the radio stations, local radio stations, and you'll be able to get an update on weather. And in the morning, there's always, I listen to, or we're always on City TV in the morning, so we get sort of that daily news, plus we get the weather. And in the winter, we really watch for it for school bus closures or school closures. It's a great place to just get all of your information when you're getting ready. So, as I mentioned, I've moved a lot. So from Edmonton, I got married to an American citizen. So what happened is I moved from Edmonton to Virginia. And so that was another large move. Moving countries is really different, of course. And I remember that the more of the stress was, I was really going into an area where I had no friends. I really didn't know anything about the place I was going. So in thinking back, it was about getting to know my way around, and that's always stressful. So at that time, this was 30 years ago, there was no such thing as Google Maps. So, we had those paper maps that I would really get used to by just taking it with me when I was driving and figuring out roads. But now when you get here, when you're moving, Google Maps is a great place to start. I think for me and a lot of my clients, they use Google Maps just initially when they get here to even go into the different areas, just driving around to figure out the main roads, the main highways. So, that's something that is definitely a big help when you're here, when you do get here, is get yourself onto Google Maps and figure out the different areas. So, I went to the US, then I came back. And when we came back, I landed in Ontario, in Toronto, and this is where my roots have been for the last 31 years. And I know Toronto quite well. We lived in Scarborough, we've lived in Richmond Hill, Brampton I've lived in, and now I live in Orangeville. So I've kind of been, moving around. In the Brampton area, I actually lived in many different neighborhoods because I moved 10 times in 20 years because I wanted to experience the different neighborhoods that Brampton had to offer. So I did live right up north, sort of North Brampton. Then I came down to South Brampton. I did East Brampton, which is like the Vales of Castlemore area. and then I went to West Brampton. So what I'll just tell you, like if you're moving here, you want to um, know which area you like, so there's different things that you'll like about the different areas. So Vaughan, you're close to, let's say, the Canada's Wonderland. You've got Highway 400. If you're going to cottage country or you've got family up living north of Vaughan, then the 400 is right there. You do have busing and transit, GO trains in all of the areas. So no matter which pocket you pick, north, south, east, or west, in the Greater Toronto area, you'll be able to access public transportation, which is really perfect because depending on where you work, if you have a car, if you're using public transportation, this is, your way of getting around. The other thing I'll mention here, especially because I've moved so much, is figuring out sort of, shopping. You need to know where you're going to be shopping predominantly. If you like to be really close to really ethnic stores and food and shopping and things like that, South Mississauga is great. It has a lot of different ethnicities that are there. Vaughan, a different type of demographic over there. So you want to really figure that out. But, living in the Greater Toronto area gives you access to it all. So even if, let's say, you were living in Brampton, within about an hour to where you are, you've got access to it all. You can go north to Orangeville, Blue Mountain area if you're like kind of thinking of going out maybe for the day or the weekend and having an outing. Perfect. If you're thinking of going downtown Toronto, again, you're looking at about between 30 minutes to an hour, depending on traffic. So when I'm talking about, traveling, you always have to contend with traffic. We have a lot of people that live here and there's a lot of cars on the road. The infrastructure is good, but it's not perfect. So you will find a lot of traffic jams. Going downtown is pretty much, gridlock almost all day, I would say. You do have breaks in the day, but typically there's a lot of movement in our 400 series highways. So that's just a part of living in a very large city. We do have one toll route called the 407. You don't have to use it. You can get around not using it. Initially, when 407 came around, many years ago, I had vowed not to ever use it because I thought, well, I could use 401 or 403 or 410, and I don't really need to based on where I was going. But what I quickly realized is if I was trying to get to a meeting or meet a client, that sometimes, the traffic was so horrendous on some of the other highways that I would use the 407 because though it cost money, it saved me a lot of time. So, just be aware that if you are using the 407, highly recommend that you get a transponder. That's going to save you some money. And then figure out the best times to use the 407 because they do charge more on the peak hours. So that's about transportation. Moving, if you're moving here for the first time, then, likely you're not coming with a lot of large furnishings or furniture. We recommend that you really look at the cost in all of that. If you are relocating from a different province or a different country, we actually, for our clients, we do 360 tours, virtual tours, so that you can get the measurements of the room. So you can plan your furnishings if you are bringing them, or is it cheaper for you to buy them here? This really helps because our clients love the idea that even if they aren't here, they can get those measurements. They're accurate. And if they're ordering furniture, even if it's being picked up locally, they could order it online and know that that's going to be something that is already done. And once they pick up their keys, they can arrange the delivery dates and times and things like that. Makes it really easy for our clients. We really want to ensure that when you move here, it's as seamless as possible. So we have a lot of contacts, referrals, for movers, for decorators, for people that'll do house cleaning, people that'll do home inspections. These are all things that you will need when you get here. And if you've already purchased a home and you've gone back and coming for your final closing, then, an Airbnb can be arranged for you so that you have a place to land when you get here. And we'll even pick you up from the airport. So these are all part of the services we offer. We love helping people that are moving here, relocating here. So that is, something that you want to consider. Get in touch with us if you are thinking about moving to Toronto and you want to kind of figure out the areas. You're looking at the different neighborhoods, and you want to get more of an idea of what is it like, where things are located, where are the schools. Get in touch with us if you're already here and you want to start looking at properties. You want to look at the different neighborhoods. Look, this is how we help our clients. We take them out. We make sure that we show them not just one area, but any of the areas that they want to see, so that they can really determine what's right for them. Where do they want to live? Where do they want to shop? What are the things that they're going to have to look for when they first get here? And I know when I moved provinces and countries, it's intimidating when you get to a new area and you don't know anyone or you don't know where to begin. It's nice to know that you've got people like us. Our team here works diligently with people that are relocating. So that is something we take great pride in. And if you are moving here, if you're thinking of relocating, you got to give us a call, shoot us a text, send us an email. You can even send that pigeon carrier. However you want to get a hold of us, we've got your back when you're moving into the Greater Toronto area. Until the next video, I'll catch you later.